You're good.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, once again for attending the Nassau County Regional EMS Council General Meeting, January 4th, 2023. Once again, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This moment of silence for all of our military members, first responders, past council members, and our EMS providers. Thank you. You have a form?
Okay, sign in. 1, 2, 3.
Please, if you haven't signed in, please sign in, whether you're a guest or once again a council alternate member. An appropriate account.
You have 20.
You're 20?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, I'll make a motion once again, approval of the meeting minutes from the November 2nd, 2022 meeting, which were put up on the website. Is there any changes or anything that needed to be? Okay, so I'll make a motion, once again. Okay. No question? All in favor? Okay. And we'll move on to communications. All right. We'll start with the Bureau of EMS enforcement actions since we last met in November. All right, there has been 4, none apparently in our region, from what we've been notified. The first one is Andrew Kammerer. EMP number 479 B67. The violations of New York Code Rules and Regulations, Part 800-6.16, A1, 2, and 3. He's been suspended for 1 year, effective 8/11/8/22. The suspension is stayed. Been placed on probation for 3 years, effective 11/8, and assessed a civil penalty. John Kirk, EMT number 452-719. For violations of Article 10, New York Code of Rules and Regulations, Part 800.16, A, 1, 2, and 3. Been suspended for 1 year, effective 12/5/22. The suspension is stayed. Must complete a full refresher within 1 year as of 12/5/22. Was assessed a civil penalty of $2,000. It was posted on 12/6/22. Timothy Rogers, EMT number 464-925, for violation of Article 10, New York Code of Rules and Regulations, Part 800.16, A, 1, 2, 3, and 9. It's been suspended for 1 year, effective 12/5. The suspension was stayed, and also must be complete a full refresher within 1 year as of 12/5/22, and assessed a civil penalty of $4,000, and was posted on December 6th, 2022. And last but not least, once again, Michael Sudol, EMT number 437-228. For violation of Article 10, New York Code of Rules and Regulations, 800.3 AP, 800.3 A22, 800.3 AP3, 800.15 B, and 800.164. And his certification has been revoked as of December 21st, 2022. And was assessed a civil penalty of $10,000, and was posted on December 22nd, 2022. Okay. Communications and correspondence. Once again, we received communications from the Bethpage Fire Department and Fire District regarding a transfer of ownership from the fire department to the fire district, along with the forms and documents necessary to transfer that. We'll discuss that later on under unfinished business. A letter from Belmont Merrick, once again, requesting to take the primary position, as North Merrick has dropped down to the third spot in the county matrix. They also said with that, the documents required for the systems committee regarding their status as far as their call runs and also their staffing to be able to handle that. And once again, the Nassau Regional Council, REMAC, and meetings dates for 2023 was sent out to all council members along with the agenda and also the committee list. For that, if anybody did not receive that, please let me know. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for their hard work the past year, 2022. I know it was trying, especially without a program agency. All those that stepped up to assist me in trying to figure out what we needed to do and how we would get there. But I think we accomplished an awful lot during 2022, and I look forward to working with everybody during the current year. As you know, during the last meeting, once again, the secretary treasurer has accepted nomination and was voted in as the vice chairman, Dave Caldor. And at the time, we had no one that would step up for the secretary treasurer position. During the past 2 months, I've had one of our council members, Thomas Devaney, has reconsidered his nomination and has accepted nomination as the secretary treasurer for the executive council. All others were contacted, once again declined to accept the position. We will have a council election, the secretary treasurer to commence so that we can fulfill the executive board under new business today. The program agency copy of contract, once again, the copier has been retrieved by the company that owned it. And once again, everything has been settled. That was a contract that was signed by the previous program agency. And we had been taking care of the financial requirements on that. But the fact that we have not been using it and the increased costs and stuff, negotiated with them to return that copier until we figure out with that what the next step is. All right, so regional program agency. I have some good news. Once again, the state has awarded the council the authority and necessary grant funding to establish a new administrative office to perform all REMSCO council and REMAC business. All financial as well as documents necessary for the grants gateway to allow us to get the funding necessary to establish a program agency or an administrative office is the term I'll use. Is been filed with New York State. All of the tax returns have been completed up to date and filed with New York State as well as the Bureau of EMS. All right, and letters have been sent out to various county administrative agencies, including the police department, Department of Health, and the fire marshal's office, requesting consideration and helping us manage and administrate the requirements of the program agency. I've had contact with 2 of the agencies. One of the agencies has currently extended their full support to assisting us and taking over the administrative portion of that. We are going to sit down and discuss the requirements with that. So there's still more to come, but we are on solid footing now with the state. And hopefully within the next month or two, we'll be able to reestablish a daily administrative office to handle the requirements necessary for that. Bethpage Fire Department transferring from the Bethpage Fire Department to the Bethpage Fire District is currently in the process. There were some issues with the documents that had been returned from the Bethpage Fire District in order to take on this transfer. It had been returned to them and has subsequently been rectified. All documents have been updated. And also it is being forwarded to New York State for a fit for competency review. Hopefully within the next month to 2 months, we'll be able to once again move forward with the regional council vote to approve that transfer of ownership with that. The REMSCO and REMAC Hospital ED virtual meeting during December. We had a meeting with the leadership of the various hospitals, approximately 30 attendees, both virtually and in person. Attended the meeting. It was held with myself, Dr. Kugler, our EMS coordinator and state rep on Hudson, and Dana Cordopasso, who is taking over as chairman of the emergency department committee. It was very well attended. We covered a lot of different issues. Once again, it was more of a meet and greet to start, but also we covered E-Bridge and some other issues involving diversion and redirection to see how we can work better with better continuity with that. And I'm sure with the E-Bridge, Dr. Kugel will have more on that with that. But we plan on having additional meetings in the near future as we navigate through some of these changes. And like I say, it was very well attended. It was more than 30 executives and emergency room directors present, both virtually and in person, and a lot was accomplished. And I think we have footing to once again continue the dialogue. There will be an agency managers meeting scheduled for January 21st, 2023 at 7 p.m. To discuss with the agency managers as well as medical directors the issues, once again, our progress through 2022, and as we move into 2023, some of the current things that we have on the schedule for that, including the E-Bridge and other medical issues that are currently both operational as well as staffing that are coming up, and also to feel out the EMS agencies on how the council can best work with them to improve the EMS system. All right. The EMS communications, the E-Bridge program is moving forward. The hospitals are currently instituting the E-Bridge program into their systems, and the cutoff date, once again, at the present time, is to have it done by July 31st. July 1st, I'm sorry, July 1st. So stay tuned. Once again, we will be bringing that also to the agency managers and the medical directors on January 21st on how this will affect their personnel. But once again, the E-Bridge system will not circumvent the medical control currently in use, especially for medical direction. It will just be able to enhance our operations and our communications amongst all of the different parties, including the hospitals, with that. Regional credentialing is still required for all ALS providers. All right, when you recertify your card, please make sure that you are signing up and having your agency managers or agency coordinators contact to verify that you are currently with the agency, so that we can get you credentialed within the system. All right, with that also, I'd ask the agency managers to also check their rosters and check to see if they have anybody on there that is no longer with their agency, as we do pay for those members that are on your rosters, as far as the website, in order to once again handle the credentialing for that. So please update your rosters, make sure that you get them in. Once again, thank you all once again for attending the meetings. All the meetings will currently be in person for council members, but will also be sent out virtually for any guests that may not be able to attend, to keep everybody up to date on what is going on with the council as well as with the REMAC executive board. We currently have 29 of 30 seats filled on the council. If you are in the council and you have an alternate, please fill out the council information form and put all the information in so we can update the files for this year and make sure that we have email addresses and phone numbers should we need to call any special meetings for any council business. The forms are over on the desk there. And once again, thank you to everybody who is attending. The Nassau County EMS Unification Committee currently has not met since mid summer. We anticipate that there'll probably be additional meetings coming up within the next month or two, and we'll bring you whatever information back upon completion. There is a draft of what has been accomplished and what needs to be accomplished to once again better help the EMS system to be better operational. All right. The Bureau of EMS continues with their inspections. Any agencies that have any issues, please contact the council and let us know before, so that we can make sure that you have all the information and all of the requirements are met to make the agency inspections seamless, and we do not lose any agencies due to issues involving those inspections. The RSI program is moving along. Dr. Newbert is the chairman of the subcommittee on RSI, and his committee, as well as the REMAC, has once again set the policies and procedures, and they are currently working out the training requirements and identifying those agencies that are able to meet the requirements of the RSI program. And we hope to have that done sometime during 2023. EMS coordinators reports are out every Friday. Please, if you're an agency manager, please get them out to all of your agency providers. There's a wealth of information and stuff there. You can also find it on the website each and every Friday. This way we can all be on the same page. In November, EMS coordinator Don Hudson went to up to Albany as they had a forum involving the ESO EPCR platform, which has had some issues with it, and we do have a significant amount of agencies here in Nassau County that are currently on that platform. With New York State in order to stay compliant with the EPCR standards that are set by the state. There'll be more to come, but just those agencies that do have ESO, if you have any questions, please contact your reps or also contact the EMS coordinator or myself, and we'll see how we can resolve. There's been some issues with uploading and downloading of material, both to the hospitals as well as to the state site through the portal. The council tax returns have all been completed, and once again, we will be submitting payment for those, and they have been submitted to New York State as well as the Bureau of EMS. Last two things, the 2022 EMS awards, we're planning on sending out the EMS award nominating forms online starting in January. They will be on the website for all agencies. We hope you take the opportunity to recognize the people that you work with, the hospitals, as well as the EMS academies, and fill out once again so that we have adequate people to select from for the REMSCO awards. They'll be back by April 15th, so that the nomination and the awards committee can once again put together a program plan for hopefully EMS week in May, so that we can get those award winners awards up to New York State by July 1st for recognition and consideration. All right, and last but not least, the land route project that I started 2 years ago has finally been completed. As a pioneer here in New York State of our EMS system. So she wanted me just to convey that to everybody, and I want to thank everybody for all their input and all their information in trying to complete this project. And with that, I have no other business. Is there anybody, any questions from me? Yes.
Hi, Lisa Lang, your alternate.
Yes.
Calling. My question is regarding the unification program that you have. I know that the fire commission under Chief Utaro has an EMS better improvement plan, and I'm hoping there's some collaboration or
The same committee.
between your two.
Well, here is where we are. We were meeting, and myself, Dr. Kugler, as well as the EMS coordinator, have been sitting in on both meetings. The committee that was set up through the council to discuss ways to once again improve the EMS system has been on hiatus since the county committee has not held a meeting since early this summer. We've been waiting for direction. They did not want to continue to come up with solutions and other areas that they felt were important until we have a draft or some information regarding the direction the county is headed in with that. So Dr. Newbert has taken that over from Dr. Pearson, and once we have confirmation, or once again the next meeting of the county committee, they will also review it and see if there's anything that they can bring to the table here from the council as well. Now, do you have anything else regarding that?
Region 2.
I'm sorry?
They're under Region 2 and looking at their forum and who's actually a part of it. And I understand they're supposed to be meeting later in this month to start it up again.
Yeah, like I said, I've gotten no meeting notices or anything else regarding that, but the committee here that was set up initially before the county committee got started is currently waiting for the county to make a determination and stuff on where we go from here. And then they will reinstitute the meeting with that. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
The managers meeting that you made mention,
Yes,
what is the date of that?
that is Saturday,
Oh, it's Saturday night?
it's a Saturday night, January 21st, 7 p.m. It will be sent out. I don't know that it's been sent out just yet. Okay. All right, but will be sent to all agency managers, so please be aware, and medical directors, as needed, if you. Medical directors needed. All right. And with that, once again, I'll turn it over to Vice Chairperson David Talbot.
Right, so, the warrant for, past period, Don Hudson, 655.76 for repay for REMSCO travel. We transferred $5,000 from the savings to the checking. Jason Santeri for, website maintenance, $2,520.05. The Venti and Lee, who do our accounting services, $570. As of today, in the checking account, we have $2,389.49. We have $24,410.42 in our savings account. And we have $67,881.33 in our money market account. And that's all I have.
We'll bring that up on the business to approve all the expenditures. Currently, as I said, we don't have a secretary treasurer's report. Is Tom DeVay here? Oh, there you go. I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't see. All right. As I said earlier, Tom has once again reconsidered and has graciously accepted a nomination to be the secretary treasurer. So under new business, we will attend to that. And we'll move on to Stadium S and coordinated report, Don Hudson.
Happy New Year, everybody. So the coordinated report, as Chuck said, is posted Friday. That goes out to at this point over 550 people. So that's where the EMS agency leadership and provider information with the link is. If you look into that, they're also posted on the website. Similarly, the REMSCO report is posted on the NassauEMS.org website currently. So just a synopsis of the applicable things there. As you mentioned, ESO has sort of come into the limelight as the biggest EPCR vendor currently experiencing problems with a meeting held for 2 days, as Chuck outlined. So no immediate, no immediate action on that. There'll be some follow-up meetings to see what the future looks like, but just a reminder, if you're looking to transition EPCR platforms, please have those conversations with the region sooner than later. Earlier is better. We had one agency send in their form with a day's notice, and obviously the state nor the EPCR vendors can transition that quickly. So just an update on that. From the REMSCO and CMAC meetings, the Bureau, the state did a comparison of and a review of the AEMT written exam. No intubation questions exist on there, so that exam is still fine. As intubation, again, just a reminder, has been removed from the AMT scope of practice in New York State. Similarly, the adult mental authority management skill has been removed from the New York State practical skills exam, effective the 1st of this month. So that's all been realigned with the national norms. The Bureau, their data and informatics unit will be here in Nassau County for 3 sessions in January. Those dates were sent out specifically and only to EPCR managers and coordinators from each agency. That's specific to the report writer function, which exists in the statewide data bridge for quality metrics and statewide data metrics moving forward. So if you didn't get that, it's by design, simply because anyone who attends that has to be vetted and validated by their agency, as they're then going to gain all HIPAA protected access to any and every one of their PCRs. So links and further information will be going out to those that registered. You know, the state's handling those registrations for that. Any questions, see me after. The state council is adding to their agenda every meeting a regional report out that's intended as literally a 2-minute per region roundtable. Just to compare notes, who's got what projects going on to try and prevent duplication of efforts and information, promote information sharing. The budget request statewide for EMS was submitted from the REMSCO to the Commissioner of Health. That is a budget request for a 51% increase over last year's budget, which looks currently very much like the 1997 budget. And it was noted that at the time that budget was put together, the prevailing minimum wage in New York State was somewhere in the area of $4.75. So it's time to request budgets increases and hold the state to do that. Annual survey and medical director forms are due January 31st for the region. That was sent out to, again, 500 plus recipients, so everyone's aware of that. Currently we have 35 back already, and there's more coming in as we speak, so it looks like we're good in that. Not to say that we won't have to engage our friends over the years past to chase down some stragglers, but well, you've been replaced, and those people don't know they have to do it yet. So thank you for your past service, and don't tell anyone else what's about to happen.
Send it out anyway.
Yeah. So please, if you have questions, ask about how that can be prevented prior to punitive actions being threatened in years past. Please don't be the last man standing on that one. And then lastly, from my state council seat, so there, I just want to explain to the REMSCO, since I sit as your representative up there. So there was 4 certificate of need, not application, but appeals that were submitted to the state from agencies in Queens to our west. There was some procedural questions about the votes that were taken and how procedurally Robert's rules and otherwise things were done. That was then brought to the main council out of subcommittee, and the council as a whole had to revote to undo and reverse or negate the actions of the subcommittee as they would deem to have been done outside the applicable rules. This only came to light at the REMSCO. So what's pertinent to us is at the REMSCO, the seat representing Queens abstained and I abstained from the Nassau region. The question then came up, why am I abstaining? Did I cover that area in a previous life as a supervisor or something? It was worked out that I would abstain simply to hold the process, the sanctity of the process, in that when this is legally appealed and it goes to court, the REMSCO would not have a unanimously done wrong vote. So I volunteered to abstain. That way the vote was not unanimous if it is indeed challenged and then overturned in court. So I just wanted to explain that to everybody. A little confusing as it was then and may still be now. Again, those videos are up on the website if you care to see the circuits for yourself and how your government functions.
Just like Congress, huh?
Yes, very much like Congress. I would hope on a smaller scale, but certainly not. So if you have questions or need clarification, I'll do my best afterwards. So thank you.
Well, we hope not to have 133 votes and stuff again. Things accomplished here.
Just when you think a vote's good, somebody raises their hand and says, that's not what it says here. So, yeah,
Thank you, Don.
thank you.
Any other questions for Don? Anything? We move on. REMSCO Council Committee reports. Once again, the committee. I looked over the committee list. I added some people. Once again, we had some changes during the past year. I tried to put people in areas where I thought that they would be the most efficient. And once again, be able to assist us as a council. So the list was sent out. I would hope that we would have meetings and stuff, occasionally. I know we had an executive council meeting, just previous to today. Everything has pretty much been covered under my report. That was discussed. Dr. Kugler may have a few things from the REMAX side, that, were also discussed. I'll let him handle that. But again, if you would, Chairman, if you could, meet from time to time, just to make sure that, we have all the, I's dotted, the T's crossed, and that we can move forward and have a productive year this year. So with that, once again, the executive council, everything is pretty much been council, so I will move to, REMAC, Dr. Cheerson or Dr. Kugler.
Okay. All right, thanks, Dr. Schuster. So a couple of things. As the chairman mentioned, we updated the policy on eBridge. The policy had a blank in it for the hard start time. The last meeting, December REMAC, it was voted, the hard start time will be July 1st, 2023 at 0001. eBridge will be implemented. That will become the main communication tool for EMS units to notify the hospitals, to contact medical control, to satisfy the regional policy. And it's going to allow for better tracking. It's going to allow for better communication. With that, you're asking, okay, so now what do I do? So I've reached out to General Devices. I said, now it's time for you to step up your game. We're going to start implementing. We need to start rolling out the education for the providers. And you need to start helping us give out user IDs and passwords. So that email was sent. I'm waiting for them to respond back. So I will let you know, hopefully more as soon as I know. But this is moving ahead. We'll be here in 6 months, we'll be over in no time, and we'll be on the eBridge. The majority of the health systems have happily reported they're complying with the rules. So the reason why they're, just so that you guys remember, the reason why the hospitals and health systems are paying for this is so that the providers don't have. Okay, that was the contract that we made with eBridge, that REMAC designed the process, that the volunteers and the paid providers have no out-of-pocket costs. The free app on your phone, free app on your tablet, free app on your PC. All you need to do is use it. Okay, and then it will be the required tools moving forward. Additionally, hospitals continue to be very busy. We need to understand that we're part of a healthcare team. EMS providers and emergency departments are part of the same team. We shouldn't be at each other's throats. We should be working to help each other. So that you have to understand your hospital colleagues, and that they're just as overwhelmed as you are in terms of volume and busyness. They're not trying to dismiss you, but you don't know what they just had just before you got there. The majority of patients that show up to an emergency department do not come by EMS. They come by personal vehicle or other means. So the person with the STEMI, the stroke, the respiratory distress, the kid that's not breathing, the cardiac arrest, they have been just brought in by car. You have no idea because it wasn't on the radio. And you're wondering where the resources are for that emergency room. Maybe they're attending to that patient. Please be patient. Okay. If you have a problem, this county does have a way for you to acknowledge that problem. It's not with yelling and screaming at your colleague who's also trying to help you. If you recognize a problem with a delay in the emergency department and you're not having a professional conversation with your colleague, then we have a system in place where you notify medical control. They'll dispatch a supervisor, which will determine if that facility needs to be put on redirection. That is this regional policy. That is a regional process. But we're going to try and do this like adults first. You speak one adult to another. If it doesn't work, then use the process. There should be no fighting between providers and hospital staff. There should be no angry words.
We have to know that we're all in it together, everybody's sick, all the hospitals are full, they're all fighting for diversion requests, we can't give them all diversion requests. There's no place to put anybody. Have you guys walked through the waiting rooms of these hospitals? They're just as full as the ERs. So please be patient, please understand. And also counsel your patient that just because we're taking an ambulance doesn't mean you're gonna get to be seen first. You may be sent out to triage, just like the other patients are. And that's okay, because that's the hospital's process. So please share that with your providers. We need to work together. So E-Bridge is coming, we talked about that. The regional BLS iGel process, so if your agency wants to do that, there's some reason I can't remember the state term for it, but it's an experimental protocol run out of a region upstate. If your agency wishes to do it, Dr. Newbert has already started to do it for his agencies on the South Shore. You could reach out to him. It basically requires notification to the REMAC, and we're filling out an application for the state to be approved. Once the state group approves you, they'll notify the REMAC and your agency, and then you can do the BLS iGel therapy. But there's a whole bunch of hoops you have to go through. It's not like, oh, my medical director just straightened me on the iGel, I'm good to go. It doesn't work like that. It is not within the BLS scope of practice. This is an experimental process. And if you don't do it the right way, we may lose the ability to add it to our BLS skill level. So we got to do it right so we can keep track. Lastly, there are still shortages. Shortages of medication, shortages of supplies. Yes, I know the Evergrande is no longer blocking the canal. And there's an abundance of shipping containers. But if you ask your controlled substance coordinator for your EMS agency, how are we doing on our narcotics that we have to be certified as an ALS agency, they're going to tell you they're expiring in 2 months and I can't get more. I've tried, and I can't. Don't wait to notify the REMAC or the region the day you expired. Or don't wait for the state inspector to come to your agency and say, look at this, you've had no controlled substances for 3 months. They'll downgrade you immediately to BLS at that point. Immediately, you have no choice, it's a state downgrade. Region didn't do it, the REMAC didn't do it, Dr. Kugler didn't do it, it's New York State Department of Health who controls the license, gives you that little sticker on your ambulance. They downgraded you because it's New York State law. If you provide ALS, you have to have controlled substances ready and available to provide to the patient. A benzodiazepine and an opioid. And it's also our regional policy. But we also have a process in our region that if you've made good effort, a good faith effort to get those medications and can't, by sending us a letter showing us the purchase order requests from multiple agencies, from multiple vendors, for multiple types of drugs. So we only get the pre-filled Bristogen, and you've only requested those, that's not a good faith effort. You say, we'll take anything. So we can comply for multiple vendors, and they say we don't have it. We'll allow you to be provisional ALS. But you can't tell me the day before. You gotta give me some time. So the way when the state notifies us that you have no controlled substance, we can say we know, we've made them provisional ALS as per regional policy. All right, you don't want to screw your own agency and screw your neighbors and your family and friends by depriving them of an ALS vehicle because you failed to notify the region. That's it. Any questions? Yes.
Just one.
Oh, you're done with questions. Anything else?
For the hospital overflow, is there any truth in that a number of New York City is being transferred into our hospitals and that can be some of the overflow?
So when a hospital goes on diversion, I'll start with here first. When a hospital goes on diversion, they notify our medical control. And if they are an approved New York City receiving facility, they notify the diversion board at the fire department. When that happens, the diversion board enters into the computer, and that hospital no longer becomes a selection choice for that ambulance to go to that hospital, because they're on diversion. Or if the hospital's been put on redirection by the fire department, and it can happen automatically, if that hospital holds 2 or 3 ambulances over 30 minutes, there's no phone call needed, nobody needs to respond to that hospital. Their computer automatically puts that hospital on redirection, and it no longer becomes a choice for that unit. If the hospital doesn't notify the city diversion board, and the hospital just west of it in Queens did, for that particular medical problem, the ambulance will bypass the hospital it didn't get a choice to, and will go to the other city receiving facility, just happens to be in Nassau County. And so they will get that New York City unit. So if the hospital has to notify 2 places when they go on diversion, they have to notify Nassau County Medical Control, and they have to notify New York City Fire Department diversion. If you don't notify the diversion board, you're going to get New York City ambulance. Up until the point where you're holding them for so long, you'll get automatic redirection. That's your contract with New York City Fire Department. The other thing is, now I can't speak on behalf of the fire department, but I have asked this question of them. In order to be a New York City Fire Department receiving facility, to get put on their list of eligible facilities to get the ambulances from the city, be it Queens or Brooklyn or Manhattan, wherever. You have to agree to an overflow status. Like, you have to agree that if you're not a tertiary trauma center, you be able to say, if you're like a little community hospital, you're no matter what, if they declare a disaster, you have to, without notification of other than them calling you saying, we're doing this, take 30 non-critical patients and 2 critical patients, or 50, I think it's 50 and 4, if you're a level 1 trauma center. That could happen at any time. So for your hospital to say, we can't take 2 patients by ambulance, they look at that and they say, but you have a contract with us that says you can take 30 patients. And then they say, that's a joke. They don't, so you have to be careful how you complain to them, because they're just gonna push it back at your face and say, here's what we have that you signed. So you could refuse to be a New York City 911 receiving facility, but that's something between your facility and the Fire Department of New York and the New York City region. I have no control over that. I just was asking that question of them for my own information, because I wanted to share data. The data I wanted to share included our diversion board, and I wanted to see their diversion board. What they said is they don't have a diversion board. Their board is just that the hospital does not come up for selection for the EMS unit that needs to take that patient for that particular condition to the particular hospital. It selects the nearest facility that's open.
So how do we identify when this needs to get bigger and go up to a state to have,
So this has been discussed at the state level. Hospital wall time, hospital diversions, hospital overcrowding. At the last REMSCO meeting, we talked about this. They talked about, well, what are we gonna do to hospitals to get them to move the patients out of their ER? Because overcrowding is not an ER problem. It's an inpatient problem, right? Everybody needs to know that.
Yeah.
It's not the ER's fault that 50 people came at once to the ER. The hospital needs to get those admitted patients out of the ER and put them somewhere. There are studies that show patients do better out of the ER than and on the floor of the hospital, even if you're in the hallway, than in the ER in a bed. That was proven by our colleagues to the east in Stoughton. Hospitals don't have the manpower to do it. There's contracts for floor nurses. They can only take a certain number of patients. They have closed units. So the ER becomes the dumping ground per se for everything. And it stretches until it can't stretch anymore. Then it explodes. So how do we deal with this? Great question. The answer is, people are trying to figure it out. There's a hospital in upstate New York that has come up with an ambulance triage nurse process. Every EMS unit that arrives, there's either a nurse or a PA or an MP sitting outside. And they look at the patient and they go triage main unit. But even if you go to triage your main unit, they get the patient off the ambulance stretcher, they put him on a ER stretcher or ER chair with wheels. Ambulance turns around and leaves. And that provider takes care of that patient until that patient could be brought to wherever they need to go to get registered and treated and stuff. The ambulances aren't waiting.
Right.
But the hospital's still getting the patient. They never said don't come. Because you can't do that. But you can, unless there's a critical infrastructure problem where bringing the patient to the hospital would endanger their life. Right? The wall is falling down. We have no electricity. We can't do surgery. Don't come here with appendicitis. Don't come here with a trauma. Our ORs are closed. There's been a gas leak. So there's been a shooting in the hospital. We're shut down. Don't come. Right, there are certain times when you can, but most of the time, overcrowding is not a reason to not accept the patient. You need to make room. That's where we need to work together as a crew, as a team, as a pre-hospital healthcare provider and an in-hospital healthcare provider. That's where the teamwork. In order to do that, we need to have open communication, open dialogue, and that's the reason why the leadership here has been having meetings with hospital leadership. Just 3 weeks ago, we had a meeting with all the hospital leaders, not just the ED, but health system leadership. What are we doing? Where are we going? How do we fix this? There's almost no answer. But we're trying. It went up to the state. They were talking about carrots and sticks and beating people and beating the hospitals with the submission, with taking things away and doing things and punishing them, but that does nothing. Right? If you tell a hospital, close your ambulatory surgery center, and close your OR for ambulatory cases, and take all these ER patients, we need those beds, you know what you're doing? You're punishing the hospital financially, because now they don't have the money to pay for the patients that are coming by ambulance. That's their bread and butter. You can't take somebody's money away and say, here, give me more. The hospital will close. Because hospitals are on the brink right now. They're losing money. I don't know if you read in the papers. They're on every hospital system is doing very poorly. 2021, 2022 killed everybody. So you asked a great question. And I wish I had the answer. But that's well above me. Well above all of it. Okay, but it is being looked at, it's being invested. But I wanted to provide that color so you know that we are looking at what has been done. So that everybody here is well knows what's going on. So we can pass it on to our colleagues. Because that's the purpose of this body, right? Is so that we share the information with the people that we represent. So they can pass it down to their colleagues. So that the entire EMS region, regional EMS system and the providers are all on the same page.
Yeah, just to add to that, Lisa, you've been around a long time, and you know, something that, you know, when we're venturing into areas and stuff that we've never ventured into before, we're looking at RSI and other types of things, but ET3 and all of these various things, a lot of these patients may not need to go to the hospital. They may, all right, but we're just not there yet. We don't have that structure to be able to provide telemedicine, to be able to do some of the things that don't necessarily need to be done in a hospital. And we're working towards it, but once again, it's not something that we can turn the switch on and be able to stymie those.
I don't mean to make a corollary to this, but Northwell has already approached me to bring back to the REMAC for a second time a proposal to present it EP3 to the Nassau region. They have it in place in New York City along with Mount Sinai, and I think NYU also has EP3 for their EMS needs. It's a great idea. It'll help decrease the volume of flow of patients coming to the emergency department by allowing them to stay at home or to go to alternate destinations. So thank you, Chairman Mack, for reminding me of that. It's something that we're looking at.
And
So there is something.
once again, once we can get stabilized with an administrative office that can handle the day-to-day operations, and we can once again focus more on those type of issues and stuff. Hopefully, we can push that forward and start getting to that point where we can make inroads throughout the state to offload those patients that don't necessarily need to be there, and get public information out there of when you should call an ambulance and when you should not. All right, we'll move on. Any further questions? All right, communications, Karen Brome was unable to attend today. She's been excused. I don't have anything on that. Once again, we'll move on to disaster planning, Kevin O'Hara.
Okay, I'm happy to report that we had a kickoff meeting in December, attended by the Nassau County Police Department, Ambulance Bureau, Homeland Security Division, myself, EMS coordinator, as well as the Fire Commission, OEM, and what we are working on is we understand now is that there is a SEM plan, emergency management plan by the county, okay, that has been worked on. It's in the process. I just spoke to them actually just before this meeting. They hopefully will have it to the county executive signature in 90 days. What we agreed to work on is an annex to that plan, is what we wanted to work on, an MCI or work on, you know, coordinating so we could roll out something to our constituents, the ambulance providers and those people in Nassau County. So we have a meeting set up for next Friday, a week from this Friday, I should say. And also we do have a representative from the Fire Commission on that. So all the parties are really represented. So we're looking for some progress in the next few months. So hopefully I can
Move
report.
forward with that.
Yep.
You ready? Okay, education and training, Edward Walden.
Norwood.
No. Legal and governmental affairs, Dr. Anthony Booton. Public education, Frank Chester.
Looking forward to working with you to put out the stuff for the awards.
Thank you. EMS systems, Paul Hibbers been excused. We did have a meeting of the EMS systems committee yesterday. It was attended by, I believe, 6 or 7 members.
We had 8.
Was it 8 members? On the systems meeting was the North Merrick dropping down to the 3rd position, and once again moving up from that point, the number 2 and number 3. Which was Belmore Merrick EMS to the primary position, and the NCPD EAB to the secondary position. Once again, it was not an elevation. Once again, it was just realigning with North Merrick dropping down. And that was the original intent. The intent, once again, all the paperwork was presented by the agency moving up. And it was approved by the council members that were in attendance on that meeting. As I said, transparency has been one of the things that I've been focused on, making sure that everybody is aware of what's going on, especially all of the agencies. And that was the way it was handled by the executive board as well as the committee with that. So that was. As Paul has not been here, it was approved, the second motion, once again, to move Belmore Merrick to the primary position on the matrix. NCPD will now assume the second position in that, and North Merrick has been dropped to the 3rd position, and that will be sent for verification to make sure that it is appropriate.
Can I ask a question on behalf of North Merrick as the EMS coordinator? When and will we get notified? I know that it's been approved, but when does this fall into the so-called matrix so that we know that?
And what I've been told,
We are no
it
longer
had
on
been
that
approved
matrix.
previously to move you down to the 3rd position, because we understand your concern for your residents within there and the staffing issues that you have. And I will confirm once again that has been changed, but once again, the progression was to move everybody up one slot, and that you will be placed in the third position.
Then
on
you'd
that
like
matrix.
to get notified
I will make
officially
sure that
that it has taken
is
effect.
notified.
I know it's been approved, but
Yes.
has the matrix been altered?
I will
Thank
check into that. I believe it was according to the director. But I'm not sure. I don't know if you know anything about it.
I'd have to check. I know it was sent through channels. I don't know if it came back down yet.
Yeah, so we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll bring that back up once again under review. Let's see, membership, Thomas Durfee. No me. Possible emergency departments, Dana?
That takes a little bit. They'll email us when it's done and we'll send it to you.
Forward to having for future meetings and stuff, and also with the committee list and stuff out there is, anything you need from me, please let me know. The REMSCO subcommittees, I don't believe Dr. Newbert is here, and Paul has been excused. Dr. Newbert's not here. I know there's been progress on the RSI committee, policies and procedures through REMAC. Maybe you have any more on that, Doc? Where you stand?
They're just working to clarify the training and education and initial credentialing requirements for RSI. There have been of the 80 so agencies in Nassau County, only 4 are maybe 10 have expressed the desire to do so, only 4 are eligible. And so Dr. Newbert's meeting with those medical directors to explain to them what needs to happen. We also, when we met with the ED committees, we reminded them that this is coming because it's part of the credentialing process. It's going to be verification of every endotracheal intubation after RSI in the emergency department. Sort of like when we had to get the meatball from the dummy and then we had to take over, we had to go to the ER with many years ago. Thanks, Chief. We're going back to that. We're gonna have to get an autograph from the ER physician confirming that the tube is in the right place after RSI. But all that stuff's in the process of being done, but it's 4 agencies now that are eligible. The policies are being finalized as well as the training. Training is going to look, Northwell took Suffolk County's training, ramped it up a little bit, and so what we did was we gave Newbert, we've been speaking to Dr. Berkowitz from Northwell, Dr. Garrett from Northwell, who built a more detailed and comprehensive airway education program, and that's what we're going to take in Nassau.
Is there a way for us when this is handled and set up as far as the training, we contact the training committee, training and education,
I'll send an email now.
so that they can meet to go over the parameters, especially the ALS agent academies
Either way, it should.
with that. Okay. All right. And we've covered the eBridge communications project, so I think we're pretty good with that. All right. Any other questions on the committees? All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. As I said, we had a few people that were nominated and voted, and Thomas Devaney has accepted the nomination for Secretary Treasurer of the Council. Is there any other nominations? Anybody else interested in nomination for Secretary Treasurer for the Executive Council?
Make a motion to close nomination.
Okay,
Secretary cast 1 ballot.
no secretary.
That's what we're voting for. The Vice President cast 1 ballot.
Okay, so on the new business. All right, and once again, the bylaw change to amend term limits for executive board of the REMSCO and the REMAC at the discretion of the council. which was brought up last month. It was sent out, a couple of weeks ago. We brought up under new business for a council vote. Yep. All right, so. All right, anything else on the unfinished business? Otherwise, move to new business. Go ahead, Rick.
I need a motion for the expenditures.
Motion. Okay, we have a motion, second, on the question, all in favor? All approved? Okay. So the election for the secretary treasurer, you passed one ballot, Thomas Devaney, thank you very much for stepping forward. And taking on that, we'll be in contact and we'll set everything up with that. So that we can have an orderly transition as well as I'll try and get an accounting, as we did last year when I changed an audit, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
You want to orderly transition of power?
Yeah. No, an audit, I said audit.
Yeah,
All right. Okay, so all right, the bylaw change to amend the term limit for the executive board, REMSCO and REMAC. Don, do you have a chance to have that? Just to read off, I know it was sent out. Did everybody receive? Like I said, the most important thing today is if you can make sure that we have your appropriate email addresses, phone numbers as needed, so that we can get this information out. Until we can, once we can get a administrative office that can handle. Just taking out.
So the impetus was to align, there's a discrepancy currently in the bylaws between the REMSCO officers and the REMAC officers about term limits and who stays on for how long. Just to refresh everyone's memory, this was to realign that. So the original, we emailed to REMSCO, good afternoon, REMSCO members and alternates on behalf of REMSCO Chair Chuck Mackey. Please see the attached REMSCO bylaw revision that was discussed and motioned at the last meeting. To refresh the discussion for a vote at the coming January 4th meeting. Please recall that the revisions relate to formatting and alignment of term limit verbiage between REMSCO and REMAC officers. These edits appear in red in the attached pages, page 4 and page 9 of the current bylaws. The amendment history on page 13 has these added for historical reference. So that is, open that. Page 4, so it is Nassau REMSCO bylaws, Article 4, officers, Section 4. That would be deleted. It currently reads the chairperson and vice chairperson shall serve no more than 2 consecutive terms in any one office unless a 2/3 majority of council votes to approve a consecutive term. The proposed amendment is to delete that section. So leave vacant Section 4 as a placeholder, striking that verbiage of term limits for the REMSCO officers. Complementary is the REMAC officers, which currently is section REMAC, section 2, officers, subsection D, so 2D. Currently it reads, no officer shall serve more than 2 consecutive terms in any one office. The proposed amendment is to delete that section, again, leaving D blank as a placeholder, so it doesn't upset the formatting, but thereby aligning the two to basically negate term limits.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll open it up to any questions regarding. If not, we'll move. Is there a motion to accept the bylaw change? Try those two. Yeah, we have a roll call and stuff like that. Second on that bylaw change amendment. Second. And do a roll call.
Hey, Christopher Ayers down here is alternate Frank Gephardt.
No.
Paul Divers not here. I'm his alternate. No. James Edgemian. Not here. Alternate William Wilson. Not here. Charles Mackey,
Yes.
Frank DeBobis,
Yes.
Barry Rigney,
Yes.
Robin Trott. Sorry, yes.
Yes.
Christopher DiMitropoulos,
Yes.
Thomas Durfee,
Yes.
James Knights not here. Bernie Robinson. No. Tom Devaney,
Yes.
Donald Hudson,
Yeah.
Edward Waldron,
Yes.
Frank Chester,
Yes.
Mark Bodnar,
Yes.
Karen Brome not here. Catherine Russ not here. Andy Simone,
Yes.
Dr. Tamara Bloom not here. Kim Tempesta not here. Robert Finio.
No.
Dr. Bruton not here. Dr. Ting.
Yes.
And executive, Ann Glazer not here. Margaret Pomerico not here. Dr. Alan Cherson,
Yes.
Stephen Monty,
Yes.
Lisa Hagan, Sheehan not here. David Reed,
No.
Dana Cortopasso,
Yes.
Dave Caldor,
Yes.
Kevin O'Hara,
Yeah.
Ava Pearson.
Yes.
The yeses have it.
Okay. So the motion is carried. Once again, amendments will be placed in the bylaws.
And just to be sure procedurally, that's a 2/3.
You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 yeses, 1, 2, 3, 4 notes. So yes, by 17 out of 21.
Is there anything else under the business? Anybody else have anything else? on the
Chuck,
business?
this, the North America issue, need a formal vote from the floor or no?
I'm sorry.
Remember if the matrix changes.
Systems Committee. So it came to the second motion, once again, the Systems Committee approved yesterday. The.
Coming to the board as a second.
Campbell County Matrix. I'm sorry?
No, I'm saying if it's coming as a seconded motion, do we vote on that or is it just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, I missed that. Yes. So the Systems Committee brought a second motion to change the matrix, to drop North Merrick down to the third position.
Well, that's already done. The North Merrick thing was already done and approved. So now you're just approving.
Once again.
No, we did that.
Before to be placed in the primary position and NCPD EAB in the secondary position in the North Merrick Fire District. Okay, you have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second. Any question? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote.
I don't think it applies.
Whatever you guys say.
Okay, we'll take a hand vote once again. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we have no appointments to the council. Anything for the good of the council? Motion to approve the treasurer's report, as stated earlier. Second. All in favor? Opposed? All right. The next scheduled REMSCO council meeting will be Wednesday, March 1st, 2 p.m. There'll be an executive council meeting, including that at 1 p.m. It will be held here at the Homeland Security Center for that. Also, REMAC, I believe, is February 3rd. For those that were interested in attending, it will also be here at the Morelli Center at 2:15 p.m. Okay, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And have a great week. Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Congratulations.
I'll get everything together. We'll sit down.
Yeah.
How are you? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Legit crazy. Yeah. Like I'm not, I'm not looking at that. Now, all of a sudden,
No, the next.
What? No,